There's a Twitter thread making waves within Purdue circles on social media this morning. It comes to us from Boilermade is the account at Boilermade, an account that I've followed for a little bit. So shout out to Boilermade for the research behind this. I also saw, I believe this was Purdue's. Is this their communications director or their SID, Chris Foreman?
Yeah, I think it's the SID.
Yeah, sorry, I'm botching your job title if this makes its way to Mr. Foreman, but Chris Foreman, also very smart guy, good follow. Quote tweeted this and said, "Good little thread on Purdue's defense," and I think that helped bring some eyeballs to this. So the topic is Purdue's defense, the issues they had last year, and some reason for optimism or hope that strides could be made with the additions to this year's roster. I'm going to read the thread essentially in its entirety. Maybe I'll jump around a little bit, but just start at the top and present the data here from Boilermade. Ken Pom had Purdue seventh in offense and 53rd in defense last season. Rebounding was the swing factor that kept them from a true top five profile. When it says top five, I think that means top five overall as a team. If they were better at rebounding, they would have been a top five team in the country. On the defensive glass, Purdue defensive rebounding percentage was 236th nationally. 71% defensive rebounding percentage. The national average was 23.5%. Top 25 teams were closer to 77%. So they're about 6% short of being a top 25 caliber defensive rebounding team. With average defensive rebounding, just national average, Boilermade hypothesizes that Purdue's adjusted defensive efficiency would take a leap from 99.2 to 96.7, which would have put their defense around 25th nationally. Just with national average defense or at national average rebounding, they would have leapt up to 25th nationally defensively, and their overall profile would have been that of a top 10 Ken Pom team. If you gave them top 25 caliber defensive rebounding, not just national average, but let's say you're actually a good defensive rebounding team, then they would have leapt even higher. The defense would have been ranked top 10 nationally. The overall profile would have been that of a top five contender. So he goes into some offensive rebounding numbers as well. The offense was really good last year. We know that. But basically, the same exact exercise would have applied to offensive rebounding and boosting them up a little bit. In the end, the conclusion from Boilermade is this, of course, is why Purdue is getting so much hype entering 2026. Better rebounding personnel, plus likely gains on both ends, point to a profile that can legitimately push into the top five nationally. End thread. Are you buying this? The way this is framed is basically if we just fix our rebounding, we are an elite team. Do you buy that hypothesis?
So everything about this makes sense. It's a great tweet. It's a great exercise. But uh here's the thing that comes up short for me, I guess. Gee, what do you have to do to get a defensive rebound?
Get stops,
Make the other
force
team
misses.
got to miss first. The other team has to miss in order to get defensive rebounds. So when you get, obviously, that's how it kind of works out. If you get more defensive rebounds, it's because you're getting more stops. The other team is missing, and you're actually securing those rebounds. So yes, I get what that is, but also I feel like it's ignoring the fact that you actually got to get the stops to get to that rebound point, and you can't just take that big of a leap. Also, I might be wrong here. Everyone knows I'm bad with math and numbers, but that's a downfall of mine. It is what it is. Does one guy have this much effect on defensive rebounding?
Yeah, you're
It is.
getting where
It
I'm,
is.
I'm
It
going
is.
to go.
He is one person.
You're getting where I'm going to go a little bit.
He's one person. He's one person. And honestly, for the issues that I think, a guy like Cam Heidi had last year, I thought he's a pretty good rebounder at times from that 3-4 spot. The 3-4 spot or the three spot, I'm sorry, right now isn't going to be some great rebounder. It's going to be some undersized kind of three man with like a Fletch or a Cox or a Meyer, whoever it is. I just don't. I don't think one singular man person, no matter how good of a rebounder he is going to make them that much better rebounding wise. To go from where they were at to maybe the national average or a
Yeah.
top 25 team.
Right. So I think the sentiment behind this post and this conversation is very accurate. It's a good conversation to have. It is the reason why we have gone on record and repeatedly said that Oscar Kluff was arguably the best player and team need fit in the entire transfer portal. It's why Purdue cracked our top 25 transfer classes despite only having a two-man class. I mean, there were no other two-man classes that even made the top 25. But because Oscar Kluff is such a perfect fit between player, skill set, and what a team needs, they got there. I have huge expectations for him. And the one thing I would say in response to what you're kind of saying here, can one guy really impact it that much? When it's Oscar Kluff and when it's rebounding, I think the answer might be yes. Because not only was Kluff a top five rebounder, both offensively and defensively in the sport last year, but South Dakota State, Oscar Kluff's team, was the number one defensive rebounding team in the entire country. So it was almost entirely because of how good Kluff was that's where they graded out. Now, there are competition level questions. I'm not saying he's going to come in and average 20 rebounds a game in the Big Ten. It's certainly going to be different. But in terms of, like, if Purdue's objective this offseason was just, we just need to fix our rebounding, they got the best player they could have. There was not a better player in the portal to upgrade rebounding. And they did that. And they should be applauded for that. There should be optimism that it will improve Purdue's profile. Here's what I would say to response to all of this, though. For starters, if the conclusion of this hypothesis is, well, with rebounding fixed, there's reason to believe this is a top five team nationally. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this team is top five nationally, even if rebounding's not fixed. Like, is anyone arguing that Purdue's not top five nationally already? Like, for the conclusion of this to be like, well, if the rebounding does jump, we're probably top five. You're the preseason number one team in the country. Like, I would hope you're that. I don't think you're top five, and I don't think you need to be elite rebounding. You could be, just a marginal leap from what you were last year rebounding, and I still think you're top five nationally because of everything else you're going to be here. So, that was kind of just the way it ended. Like, if you're going to have this conclusion, just conclude like there's reason to believe we're the best team in the country with this fix, not top five. That would be almost a little bit of a surprise the other way if that happens. But to your main thing you said, which I 100% love, the issue with projecting this type of leap, even if Oscar Kluff's going to be incredible at it, is that the reason Purdue ranked so poorly in rebounding is because of the players that are back. It wasn't just Caleb First's fault, right? Like, I'm sorry, Purdue fans, but guess what? Trey Kaufman-Renn is a bad rebounder. He's a bad rebounder, and he plays the entire game, and he's bad at rebounding. Fletcher Lawyer, not a rebounder, plays the entire game, not good at rebounding. Braden Smith, honestly, one of the best rebounding guards I have ever seen, and you're still not good at rebounding. So, like, as long as those guys are the core, I get you brought in the number one rebounder you could have brought in. It's a lot on one guy to assume he's going to take a core of team that was bad, was awful at rebounding, and just say all of a sudden we're top 25 nationally. That would surprise me. Like, I think Oscar Kluff is brought here to take Purdue from, what were they, 176th defensive? Like, with Oscar Kluff in the fold, I think now you're 125th. Like, that's a leap. A 50-spot leap is a leap. And you're going to need TKR and guys that aren't good at this to still be good, or you're going to need rotations to change if this is seriously going to take a major leap. And I would add this note, too. I think it's more than just rebounding, quite frankly. I don't think the reason Purdue graded out where they were last year was just rebounding was the issue. Like, the math checks out here, what Boilermaid put together. Like, yeah, if they are national average, they will take a leap into the efficiency range that he said. But let's not also mistake the fact that you were twice as bad at protecting the rim as you were rebounding. Like, to be clear, 176th nationally in defensive rebounding, 332nd nationally in 2-point defense. 358th nationally in block rate. That was a bigger weakness than rebounding.
Mhm.
And again, with Kluff, he fixes rebounding. Kluff doesn't block shots. Kluff is not going to fix your 2 point defense. So Daniel Jacobson might, but then you've got the rebounding issue again.
Mhm.
So again, unless you're playing both these guys together, then maybe you fix both problems. But I think it's a little oversimplifying to say it was just rebounding. No, there are issues with the personnel group that is back for Purdue that seem to have been addressed. Jacobson fixes the rim protection, Kluff fixes the rebounding, but to act like they're just going to go straight into top 25 doesn't check out for me.
Right. You also don't got to do that to be good. To your point, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you want a little bit like marginal kind of improvements. And to your point, rebounding is not a. It's going to help with Clough, but it's also a personnel thing. To your point, right? Like I look at actually, let me see. Like to me, one of the best rebounding teams in the sport last year was Florida. Like and that's because they were playing two incredible rebounders at all times, plus like Thomas Hogg or Elijah Martin at three, who was like, let's see, yeah, like nationally they were fifth in overall rebounding. That's Florida. And like Condon pulled down 8 a game. Chinlelu pulled down 7 a game. Thomas Howell pulled down 6 a game. Then even had a hand locked him when he played. He was one of the stronger offensive rebounding people. It's like you got to have the actual personnel that will aid with the rebounding if you want to be like a team that's top 25 in rebounding. But to your point, you don't have to be that high to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Just too big.
mean,
It's too big of a jump.
and again, people are projecting Purdue as the preseason number one team in the country, largely because we do believe Kluff and Jacobson fix these issues in major ways. They're going to give them a lead. But I do think it kind of oversimplifies and I think inaccurately portrays the reality that this team last year was bad at these things because collectively TKR, Fletcher, and Braden were not good at them. Right? Like you
Right.
built a team around those three guys, and that team gave you no rim protection and no rebounding.
Right.
So you're still building this team around them, and now you've added some role players who can give you more. But one role playing center either way is not going to make them like better than national average unless it's going to come down to do those three make strides. And I don't think they are. I think they're finished players who are not going to get better at rebounding or rim protection. So we'll see. It just thought exercise wise, just because I feel like we're just harping on Purdue. This kind of feels like it would be like if an Illinois account was like, what held Illinois back from being great last season? Hmm. It was league worst 3 point shooting. Now, if we just shoot league average, we would have been top five nationally. So, you know, we added Andres Stojakovic. Like and again, Andre's not the shooter that Oscar Kluff is the rebounder, but it would feel very elementary to be like, we added one player. Now we're gonna be great at this, and we're great. Like
It just doesn't
I
work like
don't
that.
think that's how it's gonna actually work. I still think that both rebounding and rim protection are gonna be minor weaknesses for this team. Don't you?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
but again, they can be minor weaknesses and Purdue can still be the best team in the country.
Right. You ain't got to be the best at everything.
Nope. And Painter's been on record. He wants to be the number one offense in the country. I still think that's the identity of this team and what it's going to come down to.